Welcome to A Happy Life, a podcast dedicated to providing science-based education and tools for adding more happiness to your life.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to A Happy Life, a podcast dedicated to providing science-based education about happiness. Did you know that people are less happy today than they were 10, 20, or even 50 years ago? In fact, one survey in the US found that only 14% of adults identify themselves as very happy. And another global survey found that 45% have not felt true happiness even once in the past 2 years. Now, even though religious leaders, philosophers, and scientists have discussed happiness for at least the past 3,000 years, and even as prosperity, wealth, lifespan, and technological advancements improve across the world, we are seeing a decrease in the happiness, joy, and satisfaction that people experience in their lives. So why is that? Why can happiness be so difficult to achieve? Well, often in life, we're taught how to accomplish things or how to succeed. For example, at a young age, we're taught how to walk, how to talk, how to read and write, and maybe how to make friends. As we grow older, we're taught how to play games and sports, with the goal always being to win. We are also taught how to do well in school, so we can get good grades and eventually secure a high-paying job. So much of what we are taught is how to be successful in our society. Now, don't get me wrong, all of these things can be important, but being successful and accomplishing things doesn't automatically bring happiness. And rarely are we actually taught how to be happy. Without ever learning exactly how to be happy, it remains a state or an emotion that just does or does not happen to us, depending on our circumstances. Let me give an analogy for this. When I was young, my parents said they would pay me for getting good grades in school. Specifically, I would get $1 for every A that I earned, and $10 on top of that for any straight A report cards. Now, in general, I was always a good student. I paid attention to my classes, almost always did my homework on time, and I studied for some exams. But exactly how I would earn a certain grade was always a mystery to me. I would open up my report card at the end of every semester, not knowing what to expect. I usually got a fair number of A's, but there were also always some B's on there. And although I was highly motivated to earn a straight A report card in order to receive that extra cash, I never did. And to me, because the grading process was a mystery, I never felt like I had control over the goal that I was striving for. Now, this continued on to my first year of college, but instead of opening up my report card and discovering mainly A's and some B's, I opened it to several C's and D's. And at that point, I knew something had to change. A desire for good grades wasn't going to be enough. There had to be some process that I could follow that would make it possible for me to get the grades that I wanted. Well, after giving it some thought and through some trial and error with some summer online courses, I finally figured it out. I cracked the code. I learned what would be required of me to get a straight A report card. Now, for me, it meant closely studying the syllabi as soon as I got it and calendaring out all classes, all readings, all assignments, and all study times for the entire semester. It meant showing up to and engaging in every class. It meant completing my readings for the week immediately after class and taking notes on what I read. And it meant completing small assignments the day they were given rather than the day they were due, and completing major assignments at least a week before the due date. It also meant studying all my notes several times before any exam. Now, once I figured this code out, my grades were no longer a mystery. It became a math equation. I knew that if I did these things, then I was guaranteed straight A's. And it worked. Throughout the rest of my undergraduate and graduate career, I received straight A's on every report card. Now, just like my early grades, we often view our happiness in life as a mystery. It is something that we may or may not fall into. However, just as I discovered a code for getting straight A's, there is a code for being happy. As the 14th Dalai Lama once said, happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Unfortunately, many of us either don't know what the code is, or we're actually taught a wrong code, a code for success or achievement rather than happiness. But once we know the right code, we can take control and we can determine our happiness no matter what our situation or circumstances may be. And that is the focus of this podcast, to help you break the happiness code. In this podcast, we discuss the science of happiness, what it is, and what has been shown to lead to happiness, and what does not. In addition to the research, we also share real-life perspectives on what it takes to be happy, all with the goal to help you develop a happy life. Plus, in many episodes, I provide recommendations for brief activities that you can do on a daily basis to gain more happiness. Further, on this channel, you will also find several tools that you can use to guide you in your practice of happiness. I am Dr. Joshua Swift, a professor of psychology at Idaho State University, a licensed clinical psychologist, and author of Becoming Happy, a guide to self-care and holistic well-being. For the past 15 years, I have dedicated my career to studying and sharing happiness. As a clinical psychologist, I have worked with hundreds of clients, helping them overcome their anxiety, depression, and other mental health concerns through the application of the principles that we will talk about in this podcast. In addition, as a university professor, I have frequently taught a popular course on self-care and well-being to college students. And now I am taking the knowledge and science of happiness that I have previously shared with psychotherapy clients and college students and sharing it more broadly through this podcast. If you are new to this channel, I invite you to subscribe or follow to receive notification of all of our future episodes. And please share with others. I look forward to joining you as we seek to build a happy life.